The Donut Bag is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Your data is your business. Protect it with ExpressVPN. For 3 extra months free with a 1-year package, go to the link listed in my Twitter profile. All right. Steelers win over the Falcons. And, well, you guys were there. Hey, is it true that it was like 90% Steelers fans?
Oh, my gosh, yes. It was. I tried to post a picture of it. It was like a sea of terrible towels. We were louder cheering when we were on defense than they were. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
The Falcons in their own stadium had to use a silent count because there were so many Steelers fans and they were making so much noise. Yeah. That is amazing.
It really was.
2 delays of game. At least 2, I think, right? Maybe some false starts. He definitely has some penalties.
Very early in the game, we had a false start on, of course, Dan Moore. And so the guy next to us is like, yeah, that's right. That's what you do. Crowd's got to get noisy. I'm like, buddy, it's Dan Moore. It has nothing to do with the crowd. He could have been doing that in a vacuum. He would have done a false start. It has nothing to do with you guys, but that's cute.
Right.
Yeah, it was crazy loud.
Falcons fan know that it was like his 9th penalty of the season.
Right. He gets 2 of those a game. I mean, it's a betting statistic now.
If Dan Moore knows where the field is, that's a victory.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, you look at this win, you look at the win over the Colts and say, well, they barely beat them. Hey, wins are wins.
Wins are wins.
Let's give a thank you card to the Falcons for even though they're a heavy running team in the first half, just decided to pass all the time with a crappy passing quarterback.
Yeah.
What was that?
That was crazy. That was because then when they started running in the second half, they were having some success. I'm like,
and was doing it very well.
You've been doing this the whole game. Yeah, that would have been scary. I did say this to Allison, though, when we were in Atlanta, that, you know, it doesn't always have to be that like super decisive, like butt whooping victory. I mean, those are nice, but we were losing a lot of really close games for a while there, games that we should have won, games that were decided by a few points. And so if we're winning, the pendulum is shifted the other way and we're winning games by a few points, that feels like serious progress to me. More so than if you've just gone in and blown out some terrible Atlanta team. Do you know what I mean? Because it shows that we're actually improving. And to me, it's how it feels like it's getting better.
Yeah, the Steelers' run defense was concerning in the second half. But, I mean, because they literally did the opposite. You know, the Falcons kind of did the opposite in the second half of they did in the first half because obviously they weren't successful passing the ball. So they're like, well, we're going to run the ball. I don't know if the Steelers' defense maybe just didn't expect that because of what happened in the first quarter or the first half. But they were letting the Falcons run all over them, which was concerning, especially considering that they had been so much better, you know, against the run. You know,
are you guys getting weird audio, or is that just me? Does Allison sound like an alien to you, Joey?
I heard something. I thought.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure nobody thought I was making a face at Allison's opinion, because I was like, what the hell? All of a sudden, it's like Allison. Alien shapeshifter voice.
Really dumb take there, Allison. What? Sound like the teacher on Peanuts or something.
Yeah, she's right though. She's right.
No, you're absolutely right. And this is yet another game where the Steelers do well in the first half offensively, and then the second half just not fall apart, but almost just do a lot worse offensively, and that's scary. That's concerning.
Well, you know, the other teams make adjustments at the half, and I think we don't. I mean, that's what it seems like. You know, like we're like, oh, it was working, ain't broke, don't fix it kind of mentality, and we forget to plan for that contingency of what happens if they figure out what we've been doing.
Yeah, and another concerning thing is going forward. I mean, I can't believe we're talking playoffs.
Playoffs.
There's a slim chance, you know, that we could end up being a wild card team. It's still very early, but 17 points, you know, one touchdown and a bunch of field goals they're not going to get the job done.
Not going to cut it.
You know, if the Steelers have any hopes at all in the playoffs, they've got to figure out how to score touchdowns.
Yeah. How to get ball to the
touchdowns.
receivers. I mean, just get them into the receivers' hands, not just Pat Fryermuth, who I love. I love Pat Fryermuth, but it can't just be him. You've got to get the ball to your receivers.
They're getting them to the receivers' hands, and the receivers are dropping them. Deontay.
Yeah, there's definitely a disconnect.
I mean, there's some drops. I mean, yeah, Deontay drops it is definitely letting go of some balls, but there's also plenty of times where I think Kenny's still just growing and reading the field is an issue because there's open people that he's either not seeing or the play is not designed in such a way that he feels comfortable throwing to them. I don't know, but we saw that even in Atlanta, people open, with George Pickens getting frustrated about it, for example, and the kid makes things happen. You put the ball near him and he's somehow freakishly finds a way to pull it in most of the time.
So much was made of Pickens being upset, and he had 2 targets, 1 catch for 2 yards with 2 targets. This was his home. He went to the University of Georgia. I'm sure he had lots of family there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure they all wanted to see him do well or put on a show or something like that.
Yeah.
And he didn't put on a show. He basically did nothing and only got it thrown to him 2 yards.
And that wasn't him. That wasn't him. That wasn't like it was his fault. Like he had an epically bad game. Do you know what I mean? He didn't have opportunities.
Yeah, Josh Roundtree had said that he watched the All-22 tape and said that the Falcons actually, whoever was on George Pickens made it extremely, from what he was seeing in the All-22, extremely difficult for George Pickens to get open.
Okay. To get open.
So there would have been many contested catches, but that's what he does.
But I was going to say, but that's what he does. If he can get his fingertips on the ball, that kid finds a way to bring it into his body. And I love the way that Tomlin addressed this at the press conference today, because it was exactly what I've been saying ever since people started complaining, which is that I would rather see him passionate than apathetic. You know what I mean?
Right,
than him not caring. So is it maybe the best way to handle it? I don't know, but you had people talking about how Tomlin should have jacked him up on the side of the field and made a public spectacle out of him. And that's absurd. That's not leadership. That's just cruddy management. Do you know what I mean?
He's way bigger than Tomlin. He would have slammed Tomlin.
Right. But I mean, had he done that, then there would have been a whole nother narrative about Tomlin loses control and what, you know what I mean? Right. Whatever. Yeah. There's no making these people happy. But the reality is the kid has a right to be upset to some degree. He's really talented. They all, like Tomlin said today, TJ wants more opportunities. Everybody wants more opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah, and Tomlin said something like how he handles that response.
Yeah,
in a more mature manner. That we're working on that, and we are working on that because he's just a baby. He's just a rookie.
He's a baby.
Yeah.
Physically, his brain isn't even totally developed yet. Like that's how much of a baby this kid. And I mean that seriously. Like that is a serious thing. Like till they're 25. You know what I mean? So men's brains aren't even fully developed. I mean, it's that part of that impulse control that takes the longest to develop. So I don't know. I thought people made way too big of a deal out of it. I didn't blame the kid for being upset. Was it his best response? No. But that's something you address off the field with him in private.
It's not like he's throwing coolers and kicking
helmets or something, right?
Whatever. Yeah, it's
not,
I mean, he hasn't gone OBJ on us yet. And like Tomlin said, it's kind of BS that the media is making this a negative thing when really it's not a negative.
No, I want to make everything something negative.
But let's look at last week. Last week, Deontay complained about not getting enough targets, and this week he gets 11 targets.
Yeah.
Squeaky wheel is getting the grease. I guarantee you, the next game against the Ravens, Pickens is going to get a bunch of targets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people made a point that Pickens' response to not getting targets may have been right after Deontay dropped the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it would have been more like, give me the ball. He's not he's got the yips right now. Give me the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll catch it. But this is only one game if you think about it.
But you're also getting this little snapshot. You know what I mean? Like we don't know. I mean, other than that we know he's not being targeted as much as he would wish. We don't know all the other stuff that like happened right around that, or might have been said, or like even what was exactly in his head. So you're right, it could have been any of those things. And really, I mean, it just could be general frustration. We've seen lots of games where TJ Watt, for example, is double teamed by guys and he doesn't get a sack the whole game. I'm sure that's frustrating to him and that's not what he wants, but it's what happens. It's the nature of football. And so, you know, he doesn't handle it the way Pickens did, but doesn't mean he's not frustrated.
Let's talk about Deontay. Allison, you mentioned he got the yips. My goodness. How many times does this dude have the yips? How many times do we have to deal with this problem of him dropping? He almost gave away this game. Okay.
He tried to.
Every Steeler fan thinks the refs are against us and the announcers are against us. The refs helped us tremendously. That was a fumble by Deontay. That was I don't know what the heck they were thinking of, but that was definitely a catch and a fumble.
Touchdown that wasn't in, so his knee was down.
Yeah, his knee. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Falcons fans around us were like, "Yeah, his knee was down."
Yeah, his knee was down, and we were like, "That was a fumble," and they were like, "Yeah, his knee was down."
Yeah, the guy was like, "He would have gotten it anyway." Like eventually, because it would have been like
maybe,
probably,
maybe.
Also, I don't know when the Academy Awards come out, but Malik Reed is that the linebacker that got held, and like the way he acted, he basically acted like I can't move anymore. Oh my.
Yeah, it was very dramatic, but hey, whatever
it worked.
It works.
Now TJ just needs to do that because he's getting held on every play, so
constantly held. Yeah, that's a weirdly called game.
TJ needs acting lessons from
right. Malik Get him a soccer player to show him how it's done.
You breathe on him and he falls down.
Yeah.
The other extremely encouraging thing, and another thing, Kenny's getting a little bit better every week, but the running game is getting better every week.
Yeah.
Ooh, Najee's looking good.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Hasn't pulled out a 100-yard game. You know what I mean? As a whole, collectively, the running backs and including Pickett have gotten over 100 yards. You know what I mean? But he still hasn't done that yet. But I think he's on his way. I really do.
I do too. And it's been that weird like running back by committee thing that we've been doing, which is fine. It's obviously working. It's helped him get over the hump of whatever was going on, whether it was that lingering injury or I don't know, doubts about the O-line or whatever it was, but his confidence is obviously improved. He looks much better every week.
I am perfectly okay with this committee thing.
Yeah,
Benny Snell, 6 rushes of 24 yards. I'll take that from Benny Snell any day of the week.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, he's out there producing. I mean, and I like it. I think does it keep your defense a little off balance? They don't know who's coming in. Does that change how they plan a little bit? Do you know what I mean? So, I like it.
Yeah, I will say I was disappointed. I mean, LeeAnn and I talked before the game about, and I had great hopes thinking that because Atlanta's defense was so horrible, that this was going to be like a breakout game for Kenny Pickett. I thought maybe he was going to get a couple touchdowns. Maybe Deontay would have had a couple touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was going to be more of like a pass happy kind of situation, where maybe they kind of got a groove, between Kenny and his receivers. But Dean Pease, he dialed up a really good defensive scheme for the Steelers, and he made it so that they couldn't, they didn't have success through the air as much as they did on the ground.
Yeah. And hey, whatever works. I mean, if that's not working, you know what I mean? At least we weren't forcing it like we were doing in some of those early games where you couldn't run the ball. And so then you're trying to throw it all over the place and getting all these interceptions. So I was glad that at least we maintained ball safety. We cut down on, even though we had a couple of penalties, it wasn't quite as bad as it had been some other times. Punting was better. Special teams coverage was really good. Much better. I was really worried.
They didn't kick it out, quarter out. I think Patterson, they were saying, was looking as frustrated as well because he wasn't able to do anything.
They gave so much crap to what's his face, the special teams coach for the Colts game, Danny Smith. for the Colts game because he gave up those big returns. But Cordell Patterson is maybe the greatest, or maybe the second greatest returner in history. And for some reason, the Falcons had two people back there, Patterson and someone else. So the Steelers like, okay, we'll kick it to someone else. We're not kicking it to Patterson.
Yeah. Yeah, it was smart.
Harvin had the punt of the year
of his career. Yeah, that was amazing.
So beautiful. It was so pretty.
It really was.
And
I was like cringing in my seat, like, oh God, what's gonna happen?
Here we go.
It's gonna be so bad. Here we go.
Yeah, Harvin.
5 yards or 50. We've got no in between. So yeah, that was a thing of beauty. I mean, right on the numbers.
But yeah, the running game is going, third down conversion is great. And it's all complementary football. When the run game is going, you can pass better. When you convert those third downs, it doesn't make the defense tired. It's just, it all works together. When it works wonderfully. And this is a good recipe for winning.
Right.
Yeah.
But the red zone percentage, I believe the Steelers have the worst in the league.
Yeah. It's bad.
Thank goodness for that.
Too. I mean, a lot of the penalties come at critical moments where they're approaching the red zone or they're in the red zone and then they get
back third down. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But yeah, would be nice to see them, capitalize more on more, score some more when they're in the red zone.
I mean, I guess you can't fix everything all at the same time. And obviously they're, making adjustments and things are improving. So, I mean, it's a fan like you. I'm just hoping that's something that they're working on for going forward. You know what I mean? That's one of the next areas of focus because you're right. What you said earlier, we just can't keep trying to field goal people to death. Like that's not going to work.
Right. No.
Thank goodness that, speaking of field goals, that Matthew Wright was, I mean, he won us a couple games. Just wow.
I was really worried that first game. Really worried. Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. I don't know what happened, but he found his groove and he's been really consistent. Knock on wood.
How Matthew got his groove back.
Matthew got his groove back. That's right.
I'm really impressed with Benny Snell, James Pierre, and I think there's another person that I'm missing. Basically, people that have been told that have basically fallen down on the depth chart. Benny Snell, I mean, this is, these past couple of games, these are the only games where he's actually run the ball at all almost.
Yeah.
And James Pierre, almost he was basically relegated to special teams, and they've been asked to step up, and they did. You could easily, when you get demoted, when you get pushed down on the depth chart, you could easily say, screw this. I have a bad attitude about it, but they just kept working, and they just waited for their chance. And it's beautiful.
I love that. I love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've talked before about that Tomlin and his next man up and these guys being prepared, and the only difference is opportunity. And as a player, it's got to feel so good to see those things in action. Do you know what I mean? That Tomlin means what he says and says what he means, and that you really do get these chances. And so that's got to, that's got to feel really good for somebody like Benny Snell, who you're right, would have had every reason to be frustrated.
I love Tomlin, and I just love how he handles people and how he handles the team.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Fans giving him the thumbs up during halftime.
Oh my goodness, that was so funny. Oh my God.
That has to be staged. I don't buy it. I don't buy it for a second.
Oh.
I think that guy is not a Steelers fan. I looked him up on Twitter. He's not a Steelers fan. I think he was standing in the tunnel and he was either yelling stuff at Tomlin before he got to him, and then stuck his thumb out like a smart ass doing that, hey coach, or Tomlin had been past him before and he'd said something to him and aggravated him, and then Tomlin came back and he clipped the video to only show that piece of it. Because I mean, how many years? Tomlin's been a coach forever in Pittsburgh. We've never heard one story of him responding badly to fans. Allison and I stood in that same tunnel. We watched Tomlin come in and out 3 or 4 times. He waved to everybody, gave people thumbs up. He was saying hi. He was nodding his head. I mean, So why? Come on. And that guy had
Yeah.
like that smirky look on his face. Yeah, I don't buy it.
He
there's
was
definitely
just,
I
he
think
was
it's a
just,
setup.
There has to be more to that story for sure.
There
although,
does. It's a setup.
Yeah.
although Tomlin's son is like, yeah, I've got that reaction before.
Mhm. Right.
And sure, and by the way, if you walk into my job and start mouthing off to me in my office with no warning, you might get the same reaction out of me. So I don't
Right.
even think that the reaction was so terrible, but I don't buy it the way that it's presented. I think there has to be something else to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So now it's on to the Ravens. Man, now I was kind of hoping Lamar Jackson would play because he is banged up, and
Yeah.
I'm a little scared of Huntley.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But still,
there's not as much film on him. I mean, I think
Yeah.
I believe that he's played. I mean, I think that there was something out there saying that the Steelers have only played Lamar Jackson like 3 times. Like for as often as they play the Ravens, he's injured
Because he's always hurt. Oh.
Yeah. So I think we played Huntley before. We played somebody before.
they played Huntley last year,
Right.
and beat
Yeah.
him bad.
Mhm.
So that's encouraging. I really,
But
really-
Tomlin did address that in the press conference that that you get these opportunities and these guys grow, and like he's expecting the same. I know he's always just going to pay it lip service, but that he expects him to be improved over where he was before.
Mhm.
I've seen Huntley play very well.
Right.
He could do. He's Lamar Jackson light, and you
So
could
they
do a
played
lot of
5
damages
times.
as the Dollar Tree version of
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson. So
Lamar
this
Jackson played 5 times. His record's 2 and 3 against the Steelers.
okay.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
I was looking at it too, yeah.
That's not very much.
No.
That's a lot less than I would have thought, considering we play him twice a year every year.
Right. Yeah.
The Ravens basically have no running backs and no wide receivers. Their
Yeah.
entire receiving game is Mark Andrews. That's it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think this game is very winnable.
Mhm.
I think it is too. I think we've got a real shot at this.
And it's at home. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's at Acrisure.
Sure, we got some confidence built up. Do you know what I mean? But I do think that to be able to do this, we're going to have to be able to get the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Najee, have a good big Najee game.
Yeah.
It's time.
He's ready for his 100-yard game. I agree.
That one game he had 99 yards or something like that.
So frustrating.
Yeah.
That has to be so frustrating. Like, just give him 1 more yard. Like, come on. You're grading on a curve. I mean, round them up a little bit.
Just dive. Just
Right.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I don't want to look ahead, but gosh, after the Ravens is Carolina,
Yeah.
and that's almost guaranteed to be another win.
Mhm.
And then possibly you're looking at 7-7 against the Raiders, who the Steelers are going to win that game because it's the Immaculate Reception anniversary game.
I hope so, because historically we struggle with the Raiders.
We do, and they're on a tear right now, like we are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
That's
historically,
true.
for
That's
whatever
true.
reason, even when they're abysmal, even when their team is horrible. So 2 years ago or whatever, we were like guaranteed to beat them, and we lost. I mean, it always
true.
seems to happen.
I'd say
So
of
hopefully-
the remaining games, the Raiders are the opponent that I'm most concerned about.
Worried about. Yeah, agreed.
Browns, after seeing, I mean, I know that there's still, 4 or 5 more weeks until we play them, but Deshaun Watson did not look good. Their run game and their defense was really the game for the Browns.
Yeah, and they'll have some time to work on those things, like you said, in between now and then. But I still think it's a very winnable game. I think. I just think there's the opportunity. I think there's something about the Raiders that make that a different kind of game.
Yeah.
Yeah, on paper the Raiders look really good. Carr's pretty good. Jacobs is playing out of his mind, and they still have Devontae Adams. So in theory, that is a game.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. It's. I mean, we love the Immaculate Reception, but they really hate them. They do. So I mean,
does that work against us? Like, yeah, they're fired up against us. Like, you have that same feeling there.
Yeah. Yeah. Not gonna lie, I was really hoping the Steelers would have picked up Baker Mayfield. just for laughs. Just for laughs. Just to have him be the backup.
Squad.
Can we do like him in like moving a Progressive commercial where he moves from Cleveland Stadium or where's he been?
Carolina
Stadium to like Acrisure.
I'm surprised he ended up with the Chargers. I thought for sure he would go to the 49ers.
Yeah.
No, he went to the Rams.
Oh, the Rams.
The other LA team.
The other LA team, yeah.
I'll bet the Rams picked him up just so he wouldn't go to the 49ers. But honestly, I think he sucks anyway. So they're doing the 49ers a favor.
He's falling apart.
He's there was actually vandalism in the Cleveland Stadium a week or two ago. Like people, like somebody like took a vehicle and was like doing donuts in the field or something like that. And someone replied, if Baker Mayfield was still there at Progressive Field, he would have never allowed that to happen. Like, oh,
right. Oh my gosh.
He probably was the one who did it.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was him.
He had the code. He probably still had the code. They probably didn't.
Yeah. Get a little revenge.
Right.
That's such a Cleveland thing. How did I miss that? That's such a Cleveland thing to have happen.
Yeah, the field looked awful. I don't know if they managed to fix it. I don't know what kind of surface it is, but yeah, you could tell there was divot, it was destroyed.
They got
how do you get in there? That's crazy. Somebody forgot to lock the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's that easy to just get a car into the stadium. I mean,
right.
To go through the tunnel and.
Yeah, it was probably.
I would.
You'd pull, like a golf carty thing or some,
Yeah, stole something and used it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I got into the Cleveland Stadium, I don't think I would do donuts on the grass, but I would like maybe get a spray paint can and I don't know, maybe just paint all the names of the quarterbacks that they've had in the last 15 years. Although I don't think the field's big enough for that.
I was gonna say you don't have enough space for that.
Or paint.
Right.
Yeah.
Repaint it to look like the Steelers end zones, like the Steelers logo in the middle of the field.
Oh,
right? Pittsburgh Steelers.
Good idea. Oh, yeah. They would love that.
That would be what I would do. That would be awesome.
Did they still have that stupid gremlin-looking mascot thing that they were?
Yeah, that thing is so weird looking. I don't know. It's weird.
No.
Yeah, it's an elf.
I don't want to think playoffs, but God, they're only 2 games out of a playoff spot.
Yeah.
It's doable.
It's doable, but who wants to see him go in and then just crap the bed? Like, or any touchdowns? Like,
I do. Yeah,
I mean, I have kind of mixed feelings about it. Like, there's a part of me that feels kind of like excited at the prospect, you know what I mean, of this kind of big, like, late season push and making a comeback and all of those things. And then there's another part of me that just wants this to be like this respectable season where we see a lot of improvement. Do you know what I mean? And don't get anybody hurt and be able to build on this for next year and then make a serious playoff run when we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't be mad if we got there.
As long as Mike Tomlin had a season, that's all I care about.
Right. And you and me both.
Even if they go 9-8, just a so many people would be angry if they had a winning record again.
They're going to be so angry. So angry.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
I would get a banner made just to really tick people off. Just to really Mike Tomlin, no losing seasons.
Right.
Oh man, put it in acupuncture stadium. Just put a big banner. It's Mike Tomlin, no losing seasons. Just have a banner raising ceremony. Really stick it into them.
I hope the Post puts it on their front page, like a big picture on the front page of the paper.
A parade. Just
love it, all of it.
They would play, if the Steelers did make the playoffs, like as a 60, they would play the Chiefs or the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
I don't want to see that.
That would be I don't want to see that either. That would be fun.
Like I said, I wouldn't be like mad if they made it. I mean, it's great. I love the accomplishment. I love that the team has grown and developed so much. But by that same token, I don't know that I feel like we have a legitimate shot against those teams. And so For
honestly,
what purpose then?
I would build it as kind of like how a college football team wins enough to make the bowl game, and you get all that extra practice, and the players, it would help the players to just have that playoff game experience. That's how I would look at it. Even if you lost 50-0, you would still have that experience of being in a playoff game and see how intense it is. So look at it that way.
And just give Kenny that experience with very little expectations. You know what I mean? Give him that opportunity to try. You're right. That makes sense.
What if we made the playoffs? I'm just so giddy. I'm just thinking about it. Like, oh my God.
I know there's a whole section of Steelers fans that will freak because they are like so determined that Mike Tomlin's going to get fired at the end of this season, that they're going to like clean house. The Rooneys are going to fire everybody and clean house. I mean, that's not happening, but I know that's what they think. So what do you think will happen with Matt Canada? So now he's doing a little better.
Oh my God.
Bad. He's got another year on his contract.
I don't think
if the offense
is he I mean, get rid of him not like a ton of money, but I mean, it's money.
The money would be, he can't be making that much money.
Paid anyway.
But you can make the argument. You could say, listen, we scored 30 against the Bengals. We scored 24 against the Colts. We scored 19 against the Falcons. We are our offense is looking good.
Yeah.
Let's just keep this going. There's a very good argument for Matt Canada staying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I would.
Well, what worries me is that it's difficult to get rid of him. Do you know what I mean? Like there's some level of difficulty involved in that. I don't mean that it's very hard. I just mean that when things are a little bit challenging, we don't always take that route. You know
it's the burden of proof. You have to prove that he's so bad that he has to go.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to prove that he has to stay. You have to prove that he has to go.
You're exactly right. And so if he's improving and we're winning games, how do you meet that burden of proof? Right. I think it's hard. So I think it makes the case much easier for the Steelers to just say, well, let's give him this next year, see how he does. Yeah. And then we can decide.
With Pickett, you know what I mean? Like,
but that's the thing.
He and Pickett are growing together. And
that's the thing. You want stability, and you want Kenny Pickett to have some stability with the people he's working with. Mm-hmm. And if because I think that's what they said about Baker Mayfield. It's like, oh, he had a different offensive coordinator every year, and that's why he sucks.
That's what it was.
So that's what caused it. So
that's why his balls couldn't connect.
That's right. Because he has all those voices in his head of all the offensive coordinators. Right. I don't know what to do.
Yes.
Yeah. So you could say for reasons of stability.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
I think there's a very real chance he'll be back next year. I'm fully expecting it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And hey, the results are there. Hey, we all hated Todd Haley, and now we would die to have someone like Todd Haley. When Todd Haley was here, we hated his guts.
I've got to say, if we keep improving and we're winning games and doing much better, I'll drop my Matt Canada hate account. Do you know what I mean? All I want is to win games and the team to be successful. So if that happens, and it's happening legitimately, not like squeaking by games and just barely, making it by luck, then yeah, I mean, that's all you can ask for. I don't know. Maybe all the turmoil in Pittsburgh with everything changing was hard on him. I don't know. I find that hard to rationalize, but
what if they make the playoffs and they actually win a playoff game? Or you got to build a statue of Matt
Canada. He's definitely not leaving. Yeah, Matt Canada with a cape. He'll show up in a cape the next game.
Oh boy, he'd get so cocky.
Canada man.
Yeah. Probably waving a Canadian flag or something.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. This was fun. I'm so glad you had such a cool experience. What's the Atlanta Stadium like? It's a dome, right?
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Really nice.
It is. It really is. It's a beautiful stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Is it called Mercedes something? Or am I thinking-
Mercedes-Benz.
Okay.
I
don't
got to
know.
say something else too. The people of Atlanta, that Southern hospitality, I usually think that's a myth, but man, they were nice. I think every single person Allison and I encountered that worked at that stadium, the people that sat around us at the game, everybody we encountered at, on our travels, at least from my perspective, everybody was so helpful and so friendly. Those people at that stadium couldn't have been nicer.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah,
well, I mean, maybe they
it.
were scared. There were so many Steelers fans. It's like, we better be nice to these people.
Maybe.
We're far outnumbered.
Yeah, right.
Allison looks really tough.
That's what it was.
This scary looking woman is going to mess
Right.
us up. We better be nice to these people.
Yes.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
You guys.
Bye.
We'll see you.